Thanks everybody for joining us today to review some of the new cool features of Lutron. And happy to have Paul on the, who is our local rep out of Illinois, hosting the session for us today. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Paul, and thanks again for joining us.
All right. Yep. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time to join us here. These are some of the most recent and probably some of the most exciting developments in a while as far as our ability to integrate with Alexa along with the Sonos speakers and provide some level of control for Sonos in terms of a remote, and also in the ability to incorporate Sonos into radio raw scenes and also in the Caseta scene. So a lot of really cool stuff. And the you know, as the kind of Internet of Things or that kind of whole ecosystem develops, Alexa is really doing, and Sonos for that matter, really doing a great job of driving Lutron business for us. So the integration is very simple, as you'll see, and there's a lot of really good opportunities here. So I would say, especially with Caseta, you know, if you're not currently selling any lighting control, or if you're dealing with a customer that really doesn't see the value in lighting control, you know, we've talked about Caseta kind of being called the gateway drug for lighting control, where you can throw a couple of devices in and give somebody a feel for what it means to have lighting control, and then that always grows from there. But even now with Alexa, people just see the commercials, you know, Alexa, turn my lights on, and they want to have that. They don't necessarily so much care that it's a Lutron product that's actually doing the dimming or the turning of the light load on and off, but it just really provides a lot of really great opportunities. So I'm going to go through this. We're going to talk about the Alexa integration with both Caseta and Radio Raw, and then we'll talk about the Sonos integration with both Caseta and Radio Raw. We'll start with Caseta on both of those just because it's everything is done through the app, so it's a little bit more basic, a little bit more simple, but the Raw 2 integration kind of builds off of the same kind of path that the Caseta integration leads off of. And I'll apologize in advance. A lot of these I wanted to give you an actual step-by-step what you would see in the app when you're going through and configuring things. I am by no means a photographer, and you'll see that, so I'm going to apologize up front for my terrible pictures, but you'll get the idea. Some of them will be a little bit blurry, but again, I just wanted everybody to see an actual step-by-step as you go through the app what you're going to see. So we'll start out with the Amazon Alexa. So I did not show here the steps to actually set your Alexa up all on its own. It's a very simple process. You download the Alexa app. The app basically just walks you through the entire setup of Alexa. But where I'll pick it up at is where, if you're going to integrate your Lutron lighting control, whether it's Caseta or Raw 2, there's a couple of things that you need to do. Number one is from the home screen of your Alexa app, you're going to want to look for the category for skills, and you want to add skills. So you'll go to this skill, and you can look at a couple of things. Number one, it'll list all of your available skills if you click on that. But you can see here I just typed the word Caseta in. You can type Lutron Caseta, Lutron Radio Raw, or just Radio Raw. There's a lot of different ways you can search for it. So in this one, I click on Caseta, or type Caseta into the search field. Go ahead and hit search, and you'll see that the Caseta wireless skill set comes up under the search thing. So you're just going to go ahead and click on that. And then you'll get to this screen here where it's going to ask you if you want to actually enable the skill on your Alexa. And if you have multiple Alexa, whether it's the Dot or the main hub, you obviously only need to do this on one of those Alexas, and then your system, like in my home, I have 2 of the Echoes. You just have to go through and set this up on one of them, and it'll then work on all of them. So you click on the enable, and then it's going to ask for your Lutron account. So when you set up a Caseta system, you're always going to have to create a user account via the homeowner's email and then the password that they designate. So, and here you put your Lutron credentials in, you click sign in, and then it'll ask you the question, do you authorize Alexa to use your account information, and say authorize. and then you'll get to the page that says Alexa has been successfully linked with your Caseta Wireless. So the next step is, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. This picture is not the greatest, but there's a little window that should pop up and it'll say Discover Devices. You can also just give Alexa the verbal command, Alexa Discover Smart Devices, and it'll go out and search your web and find it for you, your network. And then once it's discovered all of your network devices, you'll get this, and your Lutron applications will show up under your currently learned smart home skills. And that's really, it's really that simple. I did it myself in my own home. Took me literally probably 2 or 3 minutes to set it up. And with Caseta, it's a little bit more simple than it is with Radio Raw 2. You want to be mindful of your commands. However you name your lighting loads or your scenes within Caseta, that's exactly how you have to name it inside of the Alexa world. So if you want, if you have a lighting load maybe named kitchen cans, when you speak to Alexa, you have to say, Alexa, turn on kitchen cans. You have to use the exact verbiage. One thing that I've discovered for my own personal use at home is that Alexa is very picky about that. It works very well, but you have to specifically name the lighting load as it's listed in your Caseta app. So when you're setting up your lighting loads and your scenes within the Caseta app, that's something else to be mindful of if they're going to integrate it with Alexa at some point, or if that's part of your project. You want to make sure that it's going to be names of devices and loads that are going to be easy for you to remember. So with that, we'll jump to the Sonos integration. Again, I did not show the setup here of the Sonos app. I'm going to make the assumption that most of you, if not all of you, have set up the Sonos system before. So you would go through your normal drill of setting up your Sonos and zoning everything out and creating your favorites and doing all of those things that you would normally do in the Sonos app. And then once you get into the Caseta part of it, you pull up your Caseta app, and you're going to click on this little gear up here in the left corner, and then you're going to click on or touch on the Add Device. And the first thing that you're going to see if you're setting this up for the first time is you're going to see this Sonos, the home sound system at the bottom. So if you go ahead and click on that, you have to make sure that you have the most current version of the Caseta app as well. But if you click on that, it'll scan your network and look for Sonos speakers that are part of your network. And here it finds all the different speakers that are part of the network. So we've got the dining room, kitchen, living room, and the master bedroom. And then, so you'll click Done in the upper right corner here. And then once you've done that, you have to then go in and add the control for it. So you would click on the same drill, you click on the star, add a device, and then in this case, you click on this audio remote. And then you'll get the typical Caseta, here's how you pair the device to it. So you'll get the little cartoon finger that says press and hold here. So you press and hold the bottom button of the audio Pico. And then from there, once the system recognizes the Pico and communicates, it's going to ask you to name the device. And in this case, we're just going to call it the office audio. So we'll put that in there and then click on the next. And I apologize. I know this is pretty elementary, and I'm going through every single step. But again, I just wanted to show you how simple it was and walk you through the actual screens that you're going to see when you're doing this for a customer. So from there, click on Next. And then you're going to select the zone of speakers that you want that individual Pico to control. So in this case, we're going to check the office. And again, with my professional photography work, you can see my Leinenkugel case of beer in the background here that I was using for filming purposes. And from there, you're done. You're going to highlight the zone you want, click on the Done icon, and it'll take you right back to the main screen. And so now you've added the audio Pico. It's programmed to control the speaker that's in the office. When you hit the play pause button, which is the very top button, it will turn on your, whatever you have listed as your #1 favorite in your Sonos list of favorites. The other buttons, I'll pull up a little diagram of a Pico later that'll show you the actual controls. But the Pico itself can be used to toggle through your favorites. It can also be used to advance through the tracks within your favorites. And then also the volume up and down is the up and down arrows. Again, I'll show you. So next, if we wanted to add Sonos as part of a scene, what you're going to do is go into your scenes. You're going to click on this little more icon, and then you'll get to this screen here and just click on, if you wanted to add music to an existing scene, like say your Good Morning, you would click on this scene to add it in, but we're going to say let's just create a brand new scene. So we'll click on this right here, add a scene. You're going to get a window to name your scene, so I'll call it Wake Up, and choose a little icon here, and then you're going to click on the next. And then it's going to ask you which devices do you want to be part of your scene. So we already added the Sonos zone in there before, so those are already in there. So in this case, we're going to say we're going to add the bedroom lights. We want them to turn on as part of our Good Morning scene or Wake Up scene. We want the bedroom shades to go fully open, and then we want to have some Sonos music come on. So from this screen, you're going to choose the Sonos rooms, and in this case, we're going to check the bedroom, and then you can set the volume that speaker comes on at for that scene. And in this case, we just want the bedroom because that's where we're waking up at. And then you're going to hit done. When you hit done, it's going to take you back to this screen again, and you have to go in and then choose your favorite. That's an important step, and it's easy to overlook that one. So click on choose your favorite. Those are some of my favorites. I like listening to angry music, especially when I'm waking up in the morning. So I'm going to put Octane as my favorite that wakes me up in the morning. So you check that, and then it's a little bit difficult to see because the word play covers it, but there's a little done button here. So you hit done. That's it. Again, it's certainly not rocket science. It's a very simple setup. It's a very simple setup to work, but it's still, a lot of people say, well, this is all kind of do-it-yourself. Why aren't, my customers can go to Home Depot and buy this stuff and do it. Well, that's exactly not true. If you think about it, the products that are sold in the box stores in the Caseta world is the non-pro version of the Bridge. So if you have a do-it-yourselfer that goes to Home Depot or Best Buy or Lowe's or any of those box stores, buys the Caseta Smart Bridge, they're getting the non-pro version, and they don't have access to these types of integration abilities that you have as selling them a pro product. So that's an important distinction. The same thing with, the Alexa currently will not control Sonos on its own, so somebody can't just go buy an Alexa Dot and buy some Sonos speakers and have Alexa control their Sonos. I think that's on their roadmap and that's coming, but currently they do not have that ability, so you have some protection from the do-it-yourself market. But again, the advertising that both Sonos and Alexa are doing is really, we're seeing a big spike in business because of it, and would encourage you to take advantage of that. I jumped out of the PowerPoint here for the Amazon Alexa integration with RAW2. Now it says RAW2 and HomeWorks because it's the same integration using the same app. This was a little bit better than the technical documents that Lutron had for the Caseta, so I wanted to just go ahead and use this. There are several technical documents for integration with Sonos and Alexa that I will share with the folks here at AllNet before I leave. So certainly if you want any of these documents, you can just reach out to Bill or whoever your sales folks are here at AllNet. Certainly you can reach out to me. My contact information will be at the end of the presentation here again. Just shoot me an email and just say, hey, I'd like copies of these documents, and I'll get them over to you. So this is the technical doc for the Amazon Alexa with RAW2 and HomeWorks. It's pretty straightforward. This guide really walks you through it nice. One of the things that I mentioned earlier is being very conscious about how you name your scenes and how you label your buttons if you're using keypads. One of the things that will hang some people up is in the Alexa world, Alexa will only control scenes within Radio Raw 2. Now, in Alexa's mind, a scene is anything that's on a physical keypad button press or a homeowner keypad button press, but it has to be actually on a keypad. So I wanted to say that because that's where people will get hung up. If you just have a lighting load connected to a dimmer and you name that, foyer lights, you can't say, Alexa, turn on foyer lights. It won't understand that. It has to be, that foyer light has to be controlled somewhere on a keypad, whether it's a physical keypad or a virtual keypad. And as we get a little bit more into this, I think that'll make a little bit more sense. So just to give you a basic hardware diagram here, it's just like you'd expect. The Radio Raw 2 main repeater is going to be connected to your switch or your router. Your Connect bridge will also be connected by Ethernet to your switch or your router, and then the Amazon Echo just lives on your Wi-Fi. Just a couple of best practice things. So you can have a couple of different types of button presses. Obviously, anybody that's programmed Raw 2 before knows that you have multiple options. Bear with me one second here. I'm going to close this out so we don't see those. Multiple types of button presses. The single multi-room scenes will work with the Alexa, and also the toggle buttons will work with Alexa. So I just want you to know that you have that flexibility for two different types of button presses. Where you would want to make sure you're using those as a toggle would be for a specific lighting load. For example, I have in my kitchen, I've got the kitchen cans on a keypad as well as the other lighting loads. So I have that set as a toggle so that I can say, Alexa, turn on kitchen cans, or Alexa, turn off kitchen cans. The single multi-room scene would be just like you would think it's for a scene, but if you wanted to incorporate your music, or if you wanted to have Alexa turn on a scene for you, then you're going to use that single multi-room scene type of button press. Bear with me one second here. Okay, so these are the button presses that you're going to see. Let me blow this up just a little bit if I can. So when you are going to go through, you've already got your Alexa set up in your home, and now you want to add it into your Radio Raw 2. So you're going to go into your Connect app, and most of you are probably familiar with this. You've got your favorite scenes up here. You've got your favorite lighting loads, and your thermostats, and your area trees are down here. So you're going to click on this gear in the upper left corner, and then you're going to see a category for voice integration. So you're going to select that voice integration. And then you can click on this add and remove scenes. And what it'll do for you is bring all of your scenes over into the Alexa world. So you don't have to go through and actually create you can create scenes in the Alexa app, but this is a shortcut that keeps you from having to do that. So click on add and remove, and then you're going to click on import down when the screen changes to here. And then it's going to give you a list of all your different scenes. Now you can go through and rename them if you want to make it a little bit more user-friendly for Alexa, so Alexa's not confused. One of the best practice things, you want to be very careful not to use the words on or off. So if you have a scene, and in that scene it says, entertain on, or bathroom lights on, or something like that, you want to get rid of the word on, because that will confuse Alexa, and it won't be able to control that scene. Same thing with the word off. You don't want to have the word off in any of your scenes. Like if you have another example, that would be if you say you have a 3-button keypad where you walk in the front door, and the top button is to turn, you know, landscaping lights on and off, or some other door on and off. Somebody might put, you know, foyer light on for that button press, or foyer/on and off, or something to that effect, which is not a great practice anyway, but in Alexa world, that's going to cause you problems. You want to make sure that you get rid of that. The other thing that you want to do here with the voice integration, again, it's going to ask you if you'd like to import your home glance favorites. Go ahead and select continue, and then I already showed you that, the add and remove scenes. So once you get done with bringing your scenes over and renaming them, you click on the little done icon, and it's going to bring you back to here. And so now it's going to show you what all of your different scenes are that are included in the Alexa app. And again, I know this is it's a little bit small, it's a little bit tough to see, but again, this document, I can send it to anybody. And of course, if you watch this recorded video, you'll have access to see this again. There's also a frequently asked question and answer piece in here. But again, it's really simple. It's just a matter of walking through and following the steps, and the system kind of guides you through it. So again, it's pretty simple. So I'm going to go through a little bit more here with this, with the Sonos integration into RA2. This is where you have a little bit more flexibility than you do with Caseta, because you can include Sonos into your keypads in addition to, and to your scenes, in addition to having just the Pico remote control. So what you're going to do in your Radio Raw software and the programming software, you're going to go in and you're going to add the Audio Pico. This is the part number for the Audio Pico, and then you're going to name it just like you would any other device. You're going to add the location in. For this one, we're just going to say it's my office desk, and I'm going to name it Office Audio. These are the different types of button presses that you can have, that you can use through your Audio Pico. You can also use these same button presses for your keypads. If you're going to set up a keypad, so basically the same thing. You're going to go in, you're going to add a keypad into the Radio Raw software just like you would any other device, just like a Pico. You would, in the programming tab, you're going to go in and you're going to choose your icons and name all of your buttons like you normally would, but you're not going to actually tie in the Lutron programming software, you're not going to actually tie any of your Sonos zones to it. That's all going to be done through the app. So this here is just showing you go in and add your keypad in and do your naming of your keypad button presses. As far as the Sonos, the only button press type that you're going to have is this single multi-room scene button, and that's because it's a single action button. You want that button on the keypad to only do the action that you're intending it to do. For example, you might have your top button, if you're doing an audio-only keypad, your top button might be the play button. The next might be a track advance or advance through your favorites. You know, the toggle at the bottom, the raise lower would be your volume up and down, but those are all going to be single action scenes. So you'll see that you only have that option for single multi-room scene type of button press. So for the homeowner keypad, I'm going to show you that one. Again, you'd go in just like you'd add any other keypad into the system, into your programming software. You're going to go down here, you're going to select the homeowner keypad as highlighted in the red box here. You're going to name it whatever you want to name it. Put your device location in. You know, obviously Sonos keypad is not going to be your device location. That would be, you know, family room, living room, master bedroom, whatever you name your device location at. So once you add that into the programming software and you've gone through and pushed that, push the data transfer into the main repeater, now you're going to open up your Connect app. So in the Connect app, there's a couple different things. Again, we're looking at a live keypad here. So you'd go in, and in this case, this is just showing you how, if you have an existing scene where you're controlling lighting loads and you want to add the audio to it, you're going to go in the app, click on the little edit button, and for those of you that are not aware, the homeowner now with the Connect app has the ability to go through and modify their own scenes. They can add or subtract lighting loads, they could add or subtract audio. They can go in and say, you know, if you had a scene set up where the welcome button turns lights on to 80% and they decide they only want those lights to come on at 50%, the homeowner can then go into their Connect app. They can make those edits on their own, so it eliminates you having to send somebody out in a truck to the homeowner's house to reprogram the system. Just as a side note, I know that the first question that people ask when I bring that up is, well, what happens to the original programming? So the original programming stays on the main repeater. The next time that you would go to the customer's house and connect to or remotely connect to their main repeater and go to pull out their program file, the software will ask you, do you want to save your initial changes or do you now want to save the database with the homeowner's edits? So you have the ability to save it both ways. So if you have a homeowner that goes in there, they're playing with the app, they screw everything up, and then they say, hey, this is all jacked up, I need you to fix this, you can go back in there and just reset everything back to the original program level. If they do like the changes that they've made to it, and you need to go in and add a device or whatever, you can keep their current programming with the homeowner edits. I know that's a little bit of a sidebar here, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that because that's a relatively new feature, and it'll save you driving out to a customer's house for simple edits. Okay, so in our keypad, getting back on track here, you're going to click on the little edit button. All of your buttons now are going to have this little arrow, so you're going to click on the scene that you want to edit, and then it's going to show you what's currently tied to those scenes. So right now they've got lights on there, but we want to add some audio. So you would, on this previous page, you're going to go ahead and click on this little area for audio. It's going to ask you what you want that button on the keypad to do, and we're going to say we want it to be a play/pause button. And when you do that, you click on this little arrow to the right here. It's going to bring up options for you. Which rooms do you want to play? So you're going to click on this one, hit the little edit button, and it'll allow you to check off the rooms that you want to add on to that scene. This other thing, again, if you have the raise lower buttons, like say it's a 6 BRL, which is the 6 button with the raise lower, this will enable you, if you were on that, if the play button was the last button you pushed, it'll allow those up and down buttons to be a volume raise lower. So we're going to go ahead and say yes to that. And again, it's going to ask you what room do you want that raise lower to be effective for. So you'll go in. You might have a scene where you have, multiple, 4 or 5 different zones throughout the house that you want all to turn on with that scene, but maybe the volume control you still only want to be in that main room that you're in for some reason. You have the flexibility to do that. So you're going to check off the room that you want to be affected and then click the done button. This is a virtual keypad, but it's going to work exactly the same way. There is no physical keypad anywhere, but you create a keypad that's only going to be used on the homeowner's app. So I've got this virtual keypad I've named Phone 2. So what we're going to do is click on the edit button. So we get these little arrows. I'm going to click on this top button here. And then it's going to ask you this button press type. If you click on that information, it's going to tell you that it is only a single action. It's a single multi-room scene. We're going to name the name of that button. I'm going to call it play pause. For lights, we're not going to add any. I just want this to be an audio scene. So I'm going to click on the little audio thing there. And then it's going to ask again, what do you want this button to do? So we'll click on the play pause up here. And then it's going to ask you what Sonos rooms you want that keypad to control. And again, this is a virtual keypad that only lives in the app. So we're going to click on the choose rooms, and I'm going to say I want the bedroom. So check off the bedroom. Again, you can set the volume level that that speaker will turn on to, or that zone will turn on to. Click done. And then it's going to, you have to select, again, what favorite you want to come up. So I'm just showing here that I selected my Octane again, and I click on done. And so now we'll get back to this screen. Make sure you click the save button. If you hit cancel, it's going to erase all your changes that you just made. Bear with me for 1 second. So here we're going to button number 2, kind of same thing. Bear with me. We got to the screen where we had all the different keypad buttons. I clicked on the second button on button 2, so that's what it comes up here. I'm going to go ahead and change the name, and I'm going to call it Next Favorite. Same thing, I don't want any lights on there, but I'm going to click on this little audio icon. And from this room, since I'm doing my Next Favorite, the type of button I'm going to select here is this Skip Next, or you could click on this Cycle Sonos Favorites, and that would forward through your favorites. We're saying that we want this to be active in the bedroom. And then I didn't do all of the button presses through this presentation because it's really just a rinse and repeat. Just go to the third button, click on that, make it whatever you want it to be as far as a track advance or toggle through favorites or whatever. Go through those same steps, and then once you get all of your keypad buttons programmed, then you click on the done icon and everything will be saved. This was one best practice tip that I did see in the app note that I thought was really good, and I actually experienced this in my own home, so I wanted to point it out for everybody. So when you do the standard connection with Sonos, if you don't have any of the speakers wired, obviously all of the speakers are then communicating back through your router. One of the things that you can do, and certainly most of you probably know this, but again, I just want to point this out. If you hardwire one of your Sonos speakers, doesn't matter which one it is or what zone it's in, if you hardwire that to your switch or your internet router, Sonos will then basically create a little network of its own, which then doesn't interfere with your home's Wi-Fi network. So always a good practice to hardwire one of your Sonos speakers. What you don't want to do is hardwire 2 of your Sonos speakers. If you're going to wire them, to either wire all of them so that they're not communicating wirelessly, or only wire one of them. And the reason that I say that is what you'll end up doing is all of the speakers that are wired, in this case there's 2 of them, they're both going to be trying to communicate to that single speaker that's not wired, and there's a lot of back and forth communication, which is going to bog down your entire network. So good practice is, again, either do them all wirelessly or just hardwire one of them. And here this just kind of points that out. It's just going to cause a traffic buildup and cause headaches for you. So that's really, again, I know this is simple, but that's the beauty of it. It's something that you can do. You can get into somebody's house. You can set it up very quickly and easily and get on with your next project. It's still kind of that mystery magic to the homeowner, so they don't know that it's this easy for you to do it. So we just wanted to go through some steps and hopefully give you some pointers that would help you out. There's my contact information. If you'd like a copy of this presentation or any of the technical documents that I referenced for this presentation, shoot me an email, shoot Bill or your sales rep at AllNet an email, and we'll get those documents out to you. Again, pretty straightforward, but if you don't do it all the time, it's nice to have that little reference guide there. I would also, encourage everybody. I've got Caseta and Ratu in my house, just because if you live with it and you play with it every day, you find the little bugs and you find the things that make it difficult to get things done smoothly. So I would encourage you to get some hardware, put it in your own home and live with it, and go through the steps of setting it up yourself. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Bill, if you've got anything else, or if we've got some questions that have rolled in, be happy to answer those.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I thought that was great. Thanks for taking us through it and walking through the steps. We have seen some, more and more dealers starting to integrate Sonos independent from any other control system, and I think that personally in my own house I use my Lutron keypads to trigger music throughout my house. I'm not doing it this way. I'm going through another control system, but I can tell you that it adds a whole nother element to system design and really usability. I know that there's music playing in my house all the time now, and that's because my wife can walk up and press one button on a keypad and make the system work. So it's powerful, and I think Lutron has the best solution available for easy integration with these partners. Okay, it looks like we do have a question. So if the Alexa does not like off or on, is there a preferred nomenclature from Amazon, Lutron, or any other body for the naming of the command zones, etc.?
The best practice really is either call it a scene, so you could have entertain and just leave it as entertain, or like in your kitchen lights sometimes, or even a pathway of light. People will make the mistake of putting pathway on as the name of the button press on the keypad on the engraving. That would confuse Alexa, so you want to leave it just to path of light or something that would be intuitive to the homeowner but does not contain the word on or off. I just wanted to point out one other thing that I failed to mention earlier is with the Caseta, if you're using Alexa, the other devices that integrate like Nest thermostats, for example, or the Ecobee thermostats, Alexa can control them through the Caseta app as well. So Caseta, again, a lot of people kind of turn their nose up at Caseta and say, well, my customers are above Caseta, but Caseta really can be a powerful, real powerful tool, and give people a lot of integration options and a lot of easy access to things like thermostat control. So I can, if I'm sitting on my couch, I can say, Alexa, turn the thermostat up 2 degrees, and it can do that. So just a little side comment there.
When will the dimmers work with Amazon Echo?
Well, the dimmers for Caseta do, the dimmers with Caseta, maybe I wasn't clear on that earlier, with Caseta, it will control individual loads. So you could say, Alexa, turn kitchen cans to 50%, and it can do that. I don't know with Radio Raw if Alexa will ever be able to do that. Part of the reasoning is the commands, the commands for Alexa, because it can only handle scenes, and I think that's more a function of Alexa and less a function of Lutron. We would love if Alexa could control individual dimmers and individual lighting loads with RAW 2. So it's something that we're relying on Amazon to figure out. I don't know that that's something that's coming anytime real soon. I think you're just going to be limited to scenes, but what you could always do if you wanted, you could create a homeowner keypad, which is just that virtual keypad, and then you could put the button press that would turn lights on, an individual lighting load on. So for example, in my master bedroom, I don't have a keypad. So I created a virtual keypad or a homeowner keypad, and then for the button press, the first button press on that virtual keypad, I have tied to the master bedroom lights. So I can walk into my bedroom and say, Alexa, turn master bedroom lights on. Or I actually just name it bedroom lights because it frustrated my wife to have to say master bedroom. So I can walk in and say, Alexa, turn on bedroom lights, and it'll turn them on. I could do another button press that's bedroom light 50%. Then I could say, Alexa, turn on bedroom light 50%, and it'll turn the lights on to 50%. So there's little ways around the fact that it won't directly control the dimmers. It's a little bit of a headache because you have to go in and create those homeowner keypads, but there is a workaround for it.
What is the purpose of the virtual keypad as far as the Sonos app is controlled? Sonos control goes?
It's really more for if you don't want to have to access two different apps. It's really just a shortcut so you can control. If you're already in the Connect app, and you want to be able to program things or turn your music on and off without having to exit out and go into the Sonos app. If you're using some kind of a third-party control, then maybe it's not necessary. But that's in a smaller system or in a system where somebody isn't putting in a full-blown control system. That would be the benefit of it, is that you can go in and control both systems from one app rather than having to log in and out and go between them. And then obviously you can create more scenes with the homeowner keypad than you have without adding extra physical keypads. So if you're limited on space for physical keypads, or you just don't want to add extra wall clutter, you can create the homeowner keypads and use that to create scenes that would incorporate both music and sound, or sound in specific rooms, or like an entertain scene that might turn on your different zones in the kitchen, the living room, the family room, the basement, or whatever. So that would be the advantage of doing the homeowner keypads. We're expecting an announcement somewhere in the June, maybe mid to late June timeframe, that the Google Home will also work with at least Caseta to start with. So we're hoping that gets launched on time as well. That's always another question I get is, Google's Home, which is their version of the Amazon Alexa, is gaining in popularity, and that's something that we're looking forward to being able to integrate as well.
Here's a question. Can you discreetly get to a Sonos favorite? Yes, you can. Anything that's on your favorites list for Sonos will show up as a selectable favorite in the app. All right. Well, Paul, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and coming in and doing this with us today. And with that, we'll end the session. If you have any other questions, please reach out to Paul, myself, or any of your AllNet sales reps can assist you. So thanks very much.
All right. Thanks, everybody.